Stack caught up with Top Gun. Maverick stars Monica Barbaro and Lewis Pullman, aka Phoenix and Bob, ahead of the sequel's release on 4K UHD, Blu-ray and DVD. Having blown up the box office upon its theatrical release, Top Gun: Maverick soars onto home entertainment formats with the honor of being the highest-grossing film of 2022 and the biggest earner of Tom Cruise's career. Highly regarded for getting the formula right, this legacy sequel deftly captures the spirit of the original classic. My mind was blown. Monica Barbaro tells Stack of the moment she found out she had been cast in one of the most highly anticipated films of all time. I think I cried a little and I told my mom immediately, and I was like, and I am not a love interest, she adds with amusement. We had this celebratory moment over the fact that the character was a pilot, and I was excited. I saw the first movie and never thought there would be a place for me, and so, to get to play a pilot, I was stuck. It felt like a huge fugue dream the whole time, quips Lewis Pullman when describing stepping onto the set of a Top Gun movie alongside Tom Cruise. You'd come home and try to separate dream from reality. It was one of the coolest experiences, and it was maybe 10 of the most fruitful learning months of my life. It was like a master class, and Tom was so generous with all of us with the knowledge that he's built up over the decades. Cruise has a reputation as a stickler for detail and perfection, and one particular demand was an entire reshoot of the beach football sequence, which he felt lacked chemistry in its original take. So, naturally, we had to ask Barbaro and Pullman how much of a taskmaster their boss actually was. In some ways, when you're acting opposite Tom Cruise, you kind of feel like you're watching one of your favorite movies and you forget that you have to respond and deliver lines back to him, laughs Pullman. He was never a taskmaster in a way that wasn't going to make the movie better, he explains. It was like, that's a really good idea. It's going to be really hard to do that. But yeah, he's right, it's going to make the movie amazing. Never one to take shortcuts, Cruise is famous for shooting as much action in camera as possible, and revels in being his own stuntman. In the case of Top Gun: Maverick, he insisted upon as much real-life experience from his cast as possible, and this meant shooting the mid-air combat and flight sequences in actual fighter jets, moving at top speed. It's like nothing else, says Barbaro of the experience. Luckily, we got a lot of training beforehand. We got tons of hours of flight training, so by the time we were actually filming those scenes, our biggest note was to ramp up the intensity of the experience. It was some of the most intense conditions I've been in, adds Pullman. But we were prepped so well, and all of the conditions that were in the story were also in real life. So in all of the intensity, the hardest part was finding the calm and the focus, and not reacting to some of the conditions in a way that I would personally. And remembering that this is the character's cubicle, this is his office. That was the hardest challenge. With limited time to chat with Barbaro and Pullman, we felt it imperative to ask the most pressing question of all. Who was the first to spew? Pullman answers without hesitation. It was either me or Danny, Ramirez, he admits with laughter, referring to his co-star who plays the pilot, Fanboy. Barbaro interrupts to correct the record. I don't think we actually know who spewed first, but Lewis, I think you were the first to admit it. And that was very honourable, she offers with a smirk. You owned up to it, and then it became the realization that, okay, that's just what's going to happen. And whenever anyone came back from a flight, admitting that they'd spewed, we'd all clap, and that was part of the debrief. I felt like a president coming down from his private plane, adds Pullman, except I was holding a bag of puke and everyone was cheering.